Hey, good evening. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Gadi Schwartz coming to you from Los Angeles. And here's some of the stories we're watching tonight, starting with a teenager driving a truck into the White House barriers.
I heard this loud bang, and I looked behind, and there was this huge U-Haul truck just out of nowhere, just rammed right into this barricade.
And police found a Nazi flag on the suspect and say he made threats against President Biden. More details are coming up. And Ron DeSantis plans to announce his candidacy for president in a conversation with Elon Musk. We've got exclusive details from NBC's Dasha Burns, including why Musk appears to be hitching his political wagon to the Florida governor.
My preference, and I think would be the preference of most Americans, is really to have someone fairly normal in office.
And how do you explain this? Some say it is video of a UFO at a California military base back in 2021, or is it flares? We're going to dig into the mystery of the silent triangle at 29 Palms.
Those lights appeared out of nowhere.
Obviously, a lot of people saw this. What did people think?
They were just kind of like baffled.
And tonight, we are still piecing together details about that 19-year-old from Missouri who was arrested for ramming a U-Haul truck into barriers near the White House. Now, here's that moment late last night caught on camera. I can see that truck crashing into those barriers near Lafayette Park, which is right in front of the White House. Authorities now say that when the Secret Service questioned him, he said his goal was to get to the White House, seize power, and be put in charge. He went on to say that he would kill the president and hurt anyone that stood in his way. NBC News Chief White House correspondent Peter Alexander joins us now. Peter, can you bring us up to speed here? What else do we know about the suspect and what went into his plans?
Yeah, so Gadi, this is a 19-year-old from Chesterfield, Missouri, who told authorities yesterday that he flew from St. Louis near his home to Dulles Airport outside Washington, D.C. last evening, rented that U-Haul truck, and then drove directly to the White House. Witnesses on site saw this take place. They rolled the video that we have for you as well, where the suspect hit these metal barriers, then backed up and then rammed them one more time. He quickly hopped out of the vehicle, this U-Haul, grabbed a Nazi flag with a swastika on it, according to the authorities there, and he was arrested at the time. This was a serious incident, only a matter of feet, literally one full block away from the White House. We know that President Biden was home at the time. You detailed some of the comments that he made, praising Nazis, saying that his desire was to get to the White House, seize power, and be put in charge of the nation, that he would kill the president if that's what I have to do. All of the details that we are now learning from the charging documents that have only recently been filed. Gadi.
And you see that U-Haul, clearly that can be considered a weapon, but did he have anything inside of the U-Haul that he was going to storm the White House with? I mean, it seems weird. He grabs a flag after crashing that. Did he have anything on his person?
No, it's a good question. That flag obviously may speak to the motivation of this teenager, but we are told by authorities that they found no weapons, no explosives inside that U-Haul. He now has a couple court appearances, was in D.C. Superior Court today. He'll be in federal court tomorrow, and among the charges he will likely face: threatening to kill or harm a president, vice president, or family member, assault with a dangerous weapon, as well as reckless operation of a motor vehicle and trespassing. So certainly some significant charges. Gadi, we should note that I just spoke to the Secret Service. They tell me that members of the Secret Service and the FBI spent much of today at the suspect's home in Missouri looking for additional evidence.
What a bizarre case. Peter Alexander, thanks so much. And after weeks of us hearing Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is going to run for president, well, guess what? He has not yet announced, but we are hearing from sources when this might be going down. Apparently, he's going to do it tomorrow night on Twitter Live with Elon Musk. And no, not Elon Musk for vice president that we know of, but more of a conversation with Elon Musk on the platform he owns. For more, here's NBC's Dasha Burns.
NBC News is first to report that Florida Governor Ron DeSantis will formally announce he is running for president alongside Twitter CEO Elon Musk. It's an unconventional approach and an unconventional ally for launching a bid for the White House.
Tonight, we're just 24 hours away from an expected major shakeup in the Republican race for president, with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis ready to jump in.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned.
And now, NBC News learning exclusive details about that announcement, which will feature a surprise guest. DeSantis set to reveal his presidential run in a discussion with billionaire Twitter CEO Elon Musk Wednesday night that will be live streamed on Twitter Spaces, the site's platform for audio chats, according to 3 sources familiar with the plans. Musk first tweeted his support for DeSantis last year, and a source familiar with conversations between Musk and the governor's team tells NBC News Musk does not think Republican frontrunner former President Trump can win and believes DeSantis is the future.
My preference, and I think would be the preference of most Americans, is really to have someone fairly normal in office.
Tonight, Musk saying he won't be making any endorsements Wednesday.
I'm not at this time planning to endorse any particular candidate, but I am interested in X/Twitter being somewhat of a public town square.
The Florida governor will instantly become Mr. Trump's top rival.
Ron DeSantis. Did anyone ever hear of DeSantis? The sanctimonious.
Their feud has been escalating. Just this weekend, DeSantis slamming Trump over his pandemic response.
We can never allow warp speed to trump informed consent in this country ever again.
Now, the Sunshine State ground zero in a growing Republican divide. Those backing Trump.
I would pick Trump.
You would pick Trump?
Trump has already proven what he could do.
And DeSantis.
DeSantis versus Trump. Who would you pick?
If it was just those two?
Yeah.
I would pick DeSantis.
DeSantis all the way.
Why?
Well, I want a winner.
The event on Twitter Spaces will be followed by a gathering of donors and fundraisers here in Miami who will be raising money for the governor's campaign. And next week, after Memorial Day, he will take a big swing through those critical early states as an official candidate.
And we've got some breaking news tonight out of South Carolina, where a new restrictive abortion ban was just passed in the state Senate. Now, this bill bans abortion around 6 weeks of pregnancy, which is well before most women even know they're pregnant. The bill in South Carolina, this abortion ban, would leave Virginia to be the last state in the region with relatively unrestricted abortion access. It now heads to Governor Henry McMaster's desk to be signed into law. NBC's Sam Brock has been following this closely and joins us now. Okay, Sam, so what went down during today's vote, and what does this mean for abortion access in that greater region?
It certainly makes it more strained, Gadi. You mentioned that Virginia now is the only state that's left that has not deeply curtailed access to abortion services in the South. South Carolina was the other one. It was not because of the ideological leanings of the state as the middle of the road or liberal. Certainly, it's a very deep red state, but there were loggerheads that played out over the course of the last year between the House and the Senate, Gadi, as to whether to have a total ban on abortion or a 6-week ban, effectively when you start to detect cardiac activity. That is what they settled on, with also some additions in the House that have proved to be controversial. Included in that, minors, instead of having 12 weeks to try to terminate their abortion, as was in the original legislation, that has been cut in half to 6. Also now, whoever wants to seek an abortion needs to see 2 doctors and have 2 ultrasounds before they have that opportunity. So this changes the landscape drastically in the state of South Carolina and also in the region as a whole. As one more point here, Gadi, the majority leader in the Senate today said that last year there were about 87 abortions from out-of-state people in the first 3 months of the year. That jumped up to more than 1,000 after all these other states regionally restricted access to abortion.
I also want to ask you about something else that's been playing out online. As this was all going on, a lot of people were talking about the so-called sister senators who were hoping to block this bill. 5 sisters, they're all senators. Tell me about that background. I didn't even believe it when I first saw it.
It's fascinating. 5 sister senators, and they really make up both parties. You have 3 Republicans, 1 Democrat, 1 independent. They sort of formed the core of the opposition initially to a complete ban on abortion in South Carolina. Their voices, though, as this process has gone on, just got stronger and stronger as they were saying that their male colleagues were effectively shutting them out of conversations. And they said, a legislature that has 170 people, mostly men, should not be making decisions on behalf of women. Here's Katrina Shealy, who was a Republican in the state, commenting earlier.
What kind of law is this if it's not a law against your wives and your daughters and your granddaughters? Surely we're confused. I think these are basic human rights.
Gadi, it should be noted that the 5 sister senators were also aided by 3 Republican men, at least in stopping a vote on this bill initially. But those 3 men today all flipped their votes, which is why ultimately there was final passage, at least in the Senate now, going to the governor's desk for a 6-week ban.
Well, came down to the wire there. In terms of a legal challenge, what does the outlook look like?
So this gets really fascinating because in 2021, the state legislature passed almost the exact same bill, but it was overturned at the Supreme Court level in South Carolina based on the fact that the judge and justices there found that there was not a right to privacy, that women didn't have enough time to try to terminate their pregnancies. What is the difference between now and 2021? One of the justices, the one who wrote the majority opinion, was the only woman on the court, and she retired, Gadi, and was replaced by a man who was sponsored and essentially handpicked by the Freedom Caucus in the House. So even one of the Republican senators commented on the fact that the optics on this are terrible if that's the reason that the same challenge comes before the court. And this time it's fine. And earlier this year, it was not. But Planned Parenthood, we know, in addition to a couple of other clinics in South Carolina and physicians, plan on filing a lawsuit in state court either tomorrow or Thursday. Gadi.
Sam Brock, thanks so much.
Thank you.
And the trial is now underway for a former Family Feud contestant charged with murdering his estranged wife. And why did we mention the show? Well, he actually joked that getting married was a huge mistake when competing on Family Feud. Take a listen.
What's the biggest mistake you made at your wedding?
Honey, I love you, but said I do.
Yeah, Timothy Bleefnick, who you just saw there, has been charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and another charge of home invasion. Joining us now is NBC News correspondent Nyala Charles. Nyala, what can you tell us about the charges and what happened in court today?
Yeah, like you said, Gadi, 2 counts of murder and then also home invasion. And prosecutors are saying this was an act of domestic violence. They said that this was happened during the couple's pending divorce. It's been a couple of years since they've been in that process. And in the court today, with opening statements, we learned more about what prosecutors say happened that day. They say Rebecca was at home alone and when she heard the window break, and then she heard her door get broken into. And at that point, she tried to call 911, but instead was shot to death, shot 14 times. Her father is the one who found her at her home. They didn't realize that something had happened to her until they realized her kids hadn't been picked up from school. Gadi?
And is there any way that that Family Feud clip that now when you watch it, it has a whole different context to it, that could be introduced in this case?
Well, today it wasn't introduced in this case, but his defense attorney has spoken to it because in the context of the show, Gadi, Steve Harvey didn't ask him that question specifically. It was in the context of the show of what the answers could be. And although he did saying I do as an answer, that was the second most popular answer that ended up being on that Family Feud board. So we'll be able to see going forward other evidence here that has been shown. We know leading up to the murder, prosecutors say they searched Tim's laptop and phone and found that he searched how to use a crowbar and also looked for the response times of his local police department. So that's what prosecutors pointed to, although his defense says he did not do this. They're pointing to a video clip that shows the days leading to the murder, a person walking up and down Rebecca's driveway, though that person, they say, hasn't been identified. Take a listen to what his defense attorney said today in court.
Now, they did find some video of somebody going somewhere, but that's all the video shows.
They say when you confront your death, your life flashes in front of your eyes. We will never know what was going through Becky's mind as she lay there alone, slowly bleeding to death.
Now, prosecutors say they did end up finding a crowbar in Tim Bleefnick's home during their search warrant, but his defense says the results of that report came back inconclusive. And while in the home, investigators also took several of his shoes, and his defense is saying there, Gadi, that none of those shoes match the footprints that were left at the scene.
What a disturbing case. Alec Charles, thanks so much. And still to come, we've got a lot more ahead this hour, including the obvious but upsetting warning from the the Surgeons General. Experts say that social media is the driving force for a lot of depression and anxiety we see in teens. But with tech so easily at their fingertips, how do you keep kids safe?
You know, the other day, my daughter came up to my wife and I and asked us if she could post a picture on social media.
How old is
My
she?
daughter is 5 years old.
Hey there, welcome back. And here are some of the other headlines we're watching tonight. Former President Trump appeared virtually in a New York courtroom today in the case over hush money payments. Today, the judge laid out what Trump cannot publicly reveal about the case. Now, the trial is set for March of next year, halfway through the presidential primaries. Trump has pleaded not guilty to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. And investigators are looking into the deaths of 2 missing boys that were found in 2 different rivers of Manhattan. 11-year-old Alpha Berry's remains were found in the Hudson River, and 13-year-old Garrett Warren's body was found in the Harlem River. The medical examiner ruled Warren's death was an accidental drowning. The cause of Berry's death is still undetermined. And the family of a man fatally shot by police in Colorado won a $19 million settlement. Christian Glass died last June after calling 911 for help with his SUV. He might have been in a mental crisis. Glass appeared to be holding a knife and refused to get out of his car for over an hour.
You already said you have weapons in the car. Okay, I'm gonna pass them out. Can I throw them out? No, do not throw them out.
And that settlement is the largest of its kind in state history. And a new report by the Illinois Attorney General says that nearly 2,000 children were abused by leaders in the Catholic Church since 1950. The report also reveals there were over 450 abusers. And here in California, the state assembly just passed a bill banning the sale of processed foods with certain chemicals, and the Senate is expected to pass it. That means Skittles, hot tamales, and good old Pez could be banned soon. When you think of a Surgeon General warning, the first thing you think is cigarettes, right? Something that has clearly been shown to be very bad for your health, but a reminder for people who buy cigarettes anyway. But today, Surgeon General Vivek Murthy released a new report about social media and its harmful effects on teen mental health.
We see rates of depression and anxiety and suicide and loneliness going up among young people. And I'm concerned that social media is an important driver of that youth mental health crisis.
Now, he calls it the defining problem of our time. The report found that roughly 95% of teens from about 13 to 17 use social media. About a third of them are on it pretty much all the time. But that's also the age the Surgeon General says the humans undergo a highly sensitive period of brain development. And for the first time ever, joining us in the studio, not in our backyards, is NBC's Hallie Jackson.
Hello.
Hallie, welcome to the Best Coast.
You exist in 3D.
I know, it's wild, right? I feel like this is crazy because we've literally had
these
this
actual
talk
conversations
in your backyard.
I know.
And I know that a few years ago, it was a joke, like, oh, there should be a Surgeon General warning on all social media for anybody of any age. And to hear the Surgeon General actually talking about this today, does it seem like this is a turning point?
It is a significant moment for sure. I mean, it has to be, Gadi, for the Surgeon General to come out with this advisory. I was struck by something that our friend Savannah Guthrie said this morning on the Today Show, which was how representative this is of like the stuff that is an issue right now. Back years ago, right, maybe it was tobacco. It is social media and the potential harmful effects that it has on kids. Now, the Surgeon General acknowledges like there's good things from being on these apps, on these platforms for kids and teens. A sense of connection for a kid who might feel really isolated. For a kid from, let's say, the LGBTQ plus community, it can be a place to find support, to find friendships, right? Like that's important. There is also a but we also know that like the average teen, according to some of the research they cite, spends like more than 3.5 hours a day online. And research shows that more than 3 hours a day could lead to more symptoms of things like depression and anxiety. So the bottom line is, as he said to me, we are sounding the alarm. We do not have enough evidence to show that this is definitely safe. And then he lays out some of what not just parents can do, because he was really clear. He's like, because I kept asking him, like, you realize what you're saying feels impossible for parents. It's not just parents. It's for some of them. It's policymakers, it's tech companies, it's researchers too.
It feels like this is one of those things where if you have a kid that is 13, 14, they already have their cell phone.
Toothpaste is out of the tube.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
You can't put Pandora back in the box. And yet when you have a kid that's maybe
Our
2,
age,
3,
right.
our age, like you start seeing
Our
what's
kids'
going
ages,
on.
right.
Yeah. And you start realizing that's going to be coming up pretty soon here. What do parents do?
Okay, one thing he said is, like, if your kid is already doing it, because I literally said the horse is out of the barn here. And so when you're telling parents, oh, wait to have your kids online, like, I know parents who have kids who are 9 that are like, I want to get on social media. I want a smartphone. Like, what are you supposed to do? It's like, okay, if they're already on it, talk about a family media plan, right? Like, what does that look like? Maybe you put in place some tech-free zones, like no smartphones, no social media at the dinner table, at meal times. One thing he said that I thought was so interesting that we all talked about, like with the crew afterwards, was finding other like-minded parents. Like, if we live closer, being like, well, you know, that this person's parent like says that they can't have social media either. Like, it helps create like a bit of a community there, which matters.
It's interesting you say that, because out of Silicon Valley and in other places in the country, I've been hearing about these packs that parents are making. A lot of like tech executives, a lot of other people that are like, look, we've got this middle school, we've got this circle of friends. No one in here is going to give their kid a cell phone until 13 or until 15, because the second that one parent gives a kid a cell phone, then all the other kids are going to want it, and the pact is broken.
It's like reverse peer pressure, right? The way that your kids are feeling pressure to maybe get a smartphone, get on social media, you can use that power to corral other parents. Like the Surgeon General talked about finding other parents who are like-minded on this to be able to kind of like put up a little bit of a roadblock for your kid on this. Again, if they're already on it, don't despair. There are things you can do. If they're not, like one researcher we talked to said, hey, 14 for a smartphone, like high school maybe that's a good thing to be thinking about for your kids to be able to critically analyze what they're seeing, to be understanding that like things aren't what they seem always on social media platforms. It's hard though, Gadi. I mean, our kids are what, 3?
Yeah,
and
mine
like
is 2 years.
And we're already thinking about it.
You've got to move to the West Coast, and then we will have a pact.
We'll have our pact.
And what do you think, 15?
We
Because
can
I am
still have
terrified.
I would say 30.
30? Yes, 30. There it is. 30 years old. Sorry, kids. You saw it here first.
Okay.
Thanks so much for joining us. And Florida's governor has signed a new immigration crackdown law that he says is the toughest in the nation. There are now stricter rules on employees or employers to check whether new hires are citizens. And this law even pressures hospitals to screen potential Medicaid patients for their immigration status. These rules aren't just making working harder for undocumented people, it's upending many of their daily lives.
Hay miedo.
Hay mucho miedo, mucho pánico, miedo de salir a trabajar, miedo hasta de llevar los hijos a la escuela, miedos de manejar para ir a hacer sus mandados, que como ya está miedo para ir al doctor.
And joining us now from Miami is NBC News national correspondent Gabe Gutierrez. Gabe, let's start with what's actually in this new law. We've heard it's one of the toughest immigration laws passed in the country. What does it mean?
Hey there, Gadi. Well, Governor DeSantis' administration does call it among the strictest anti-illegal immigration laws in the country, and it has several provisions, including tougher penalties for human trafficking-related cases. It also requires hospitals that receive Medicaid mandates that they ask for immigration status when people go inside for medical care. And some critics of this law say that that will prevent undocumented migrants from going in to get health care. There's also a provision for $12 billion set aside for this migrant relocation program to fly migrants to different parts of the country. And this all comes, Gadi, as Governor DeSantis just a couple of days ago announced that he was sending 1,100 National Guard members and law enforcement officers to the southern border, clearly making immigration a top issue in what looks to be now his presidential campaign. Gadi?
And how are people who are undocumented in Florida reacting to all this?
Well, there is a growing sense of fear among the undocumented population here in Florida. We just went to Homestead, Florida, which is just south of Miami. A lot of migrant workers there and a lot of undocumented workers there as well. And we spoke with several of them who say that they are more fearful now than they have ever been, even more so than during the Trump administration because of this new law set to take effect July 1st. Some of them told us they worry about their family members being deported, about they themselves being deported. We spoke with one woman who had been here for 16 years. A lot of her family was still in Honduras, but she is now undocumented. She says that she pays taxes here in the United States, but she, again, is more fearful now than she's ever been previously. Take a listen. You're going to stay. ¿Te vas a quedar?
Sí.
¿Por qué? Why?
Donde yo vine, donde yo me radiqué, donde yo trabajé, donde gracias a Dios me dio la oportunidad, perdón, de que mis hijos salgan adelante, de que mis hijos vivieran una vida mejor en Honduras. Entonces, vamos a seguir luchando aquí.
So that woman named Lesby did not want us to use her last name or to show her face. But again, she and others think that while she has decided to stay in the state of Florida, she had considered leaving. And she says that other people she knows and also some migrant advocates we spoke with say that there have been undocumented workers that have already decided to leave the state, Gadi.
And Gabe, is there any indication on what kind of economic impact this could have on Florida?
Well, that is certainly a big question at this point, and critics of this law say that it could lead to a worker shortage. There are hundreds of thousands of migrant workers in Florida, and by some estimates, a large number of them are undocumented. So if a lot of them leave the state, critics of the legislation, again, say that that could lead to a worker shortage. For his part, Governor DeSantis has pushed back on that strongly, and he says that there's an incredibly low unemployment rate in Florida, and that is due to the economic policies of his administration. So he doesn't buy that argument that this would have an economic impact. Still, migrant advocates say it's only a matter of time before this starts hurting Florida economically, Gadi.
NBC's Gabe Gutierrez, thank you. And coming up, if a major earthquake were to hit San Francisco, more than 3,000 buildings are at severe risk of collapsing. So what's being done about it? We'll tell you next. But first, you got to see this. A team of wranglers was called into action in Michigan after a cow managed to wander onto a highway. Now, here's the skinny on that cow. Wranglers chased it with four-wheelers, with horses, with lassos. This was like a scene out of Yellowstone. They lassoed the cow, eventually sending it back to the pasture. Then troopers got traffic moving again on that highway. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. Let's get you caught up in 30 seconds. A man is accused of ramming a U-Haul truck into security barriers near the White House. He's been charged with threatening to kill, kidnap, and inflict harm on a president. And Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is scheduled to announce his run for the White House tomorrow. Sources tell NBC News he'll do so in a live conversation on Twitter with Elon Musk. And South Carolina just passed a bill to ban abortions at 6 weeks. The bill has been sent to the governor, who has already promised to sign it. And from the NBC News archives tonight, the year is 1989. The city is San Francisco, California. And this is moments after a strong earthquake in the nearby Santa Cruz Mountains.
The latest word on the magnitude of this quake is 6.9.
It was like someone was making up a bed. I'm in a Bronco Ford, and it was tossed around.
There were nervous titters at first, but then after it stopped, you saw the blood drain from people's faces.
That earthquake registered at just under a 7 magnitude. Dozens of people died. Buildings and highways collapsed. It was the strongest tremor in the Bay Area since the famous 1906 earthquake, which killed thousands of people. Now, it is earthquakes like both of those that seismologists are worried could violently shake the earth again. And in fact, the U.S. Geological Survey puts the probability at 51% that an earthquake that strong could happen in the next 30 years in San Francisco. And now we've got exclusive reporting that is even more concerning for people living in the Bay Area. There are literally thousands of buildings at risk of collapse throughout that city. And some of the most iconic locations are the landmark Coit Tower, the Castro Theater Movie Palace, which was built more than 100 years ago. Even Twitter's current headquarters is at risk under the stress of a big one. Joining us now is NBC tech reporter David Ingram. David, let's start with what is structurally wrong with these buildings. How do we know that they could potentially collapse here?
So what the city has done here is put together a list of every building that is made of concrete that was built before essentially the year 2000. because those are buildings where the people who designed them did not fully understand the amount of steel or other reinforcement that was needed to keep these buildings safe. So these are all buildings that basically are potentially at risk and need another pretty intensive evaluation by a structural engineer who will be able to determine whether the buildings are safe or if they need to be retrofitted. Gadi, that could be a very expensive process. Building owners are likely looking at millions of dollars for some of these buildings for them to be retrofitted. It may not even be economically feasible to retrofit some of these buildings because the cost of doing so is quite high. But on the other hand, as you said, some of these buildings are very historic. The city has some tough decisions to make here.
I think everybody in California's ears are perking up here. There are earthquakes all the time here. And just to be clear, this would have to be a major one for these buildings to be at risk, right? Or could something that's maybe a 5.0 or possibly like a high 5, low 6 do some pretty extensive damage?
Yes. So you mentioned the 1989 earthquake. That was a 6.9. And of course, the vast majority of buildings in San Francisco withstood that earthquake. What structural engineers and others are worried about is earthquakes that are really closer to the big one. In the 7s magnitude. And the fact is that San Francisco really hasn't been tested in that way since 1906. 1989 was a bad earthquake for sure, but it wasn't the big one. And so there are all kinds of buildings that were built, small, large, low-income housing, wealthy condo buildings that were built after the 1906 earthquake by people who thought that concrete would be safe. Now we know that's not true, and so none of these buildings have really withstood a test.
I know in your reporting, you got this list through a public records request, right? Why is this not already public? Why is that list not already on a website with a lot of public outreach saying, hey, these are some of the areas of concern?
That's a great question. The city may eventually publish this list on its website. I think it probably will. There's a lot of uncertainty here. So we've been very clear in our reporting, both on broadcast and on digital, that this list is incomplete. Some buildings may be added, some buildings may be subtracted. Each one of these 3,000 plus buildings needs its own individual assessment to see how vulnerable it is. So the city was reluctant, has been reluctant to publicize this vulnerability. The design is vulnerable. Not every building is. And so the city has said, let's wait and see for these assessments to come in before we raise alarms for tenants, for investors. Of course, the city's been saying that for years. This vulnerability has been known since 1971. The city is about 8 years behind its own timeline for getting on these buildings. So the clock is ticking. We requested this list, and Gadi, that the city provided us with a copy.
The clock is ticking. Meanwhile, all those plates continue to build in pressure. David Ingram, some important reporting there. Thanks so very much. And here on the West Coast, California, Arizona, and Nevada have agreed to reduce their state's water usage so that the Colorado River doesn't go dry. Now, right now, the nearly 1,500-mile river serves about 40 million people in 7 states, but it's also facing a historic drought. And this is what the river looks like right now. Experts say the river is about 20% smaller than it was 20 years ago, thanks to climate change and a growing population. Right now, the 3 states say they are willing to conserve about 3 million acre-feet of water by 2026. That is equal to about 6 million Olympic-sized swimming pools. NBC's Steve Patterson joins us on set now. Steve, why is this coming now, and how much does this have to do with all those atmospheric rivers that we just saw here in California?
Yeah, that's part of it. So there's essentially 3 reasons, right? Number one is that there's incentive for these states. The federal government is putting about $1.2 billion in federal grant money toward water districts and Native American tribes and cities. That money wasn't necessarily on the table the way it is now. Second reason is what the government would do if these states don't come to an agreement. Essentially saying, all right, we've given you guys a chance, you've missed several deadlines. If you don't do it now, we will essentially unilaterally make cuts without your input, which means basically all 7 states would lose a bit of water without them deciding how much water they would lose, which is huge for a state like California, which uses more of the river. And third is, yes, you guessed it, you're right. It is the amount of water that we got this winter. California has an incredible amount of snowpack. All of that is running off into its local storage, so it doesn't necessarily have to rely on the river so much. It gives it more bargaining power. They're able to say, you know what, yeah, okay, we'll cut back a little bit so you guys can have a little bit more, so we can all come to the table, so we all don't miss out on losing the resource, which is the Colorado River.
I keep trying to visualize a 6 million Olympic-sized swimming pools.
I love that
what
visual.
That even looks like. Is that enough conservation there?
I mean, so to avoid unmitigated disaster, which this certainly would be, yes. Is it going to reverse necessarily the 23 years of mega drought that we've had, the climate change that we're in, the chronic overuse of the river over the past, 20, 30, 40 years? No, absolutely not. This is a first step. It's a stopgap to essentially say we're going to avert this crisis so we can come up with a longer-term solution. Without that, it's still going to be in a bad way there.
One thing that we keep hearing over and over again is Deadpool status, right? Especially when it comes to some of the lakes and the reservoirs in Utah and Nevada. Where do we stand right now with all of this rain that we've seen?
Yeah, we're pretty close to Deadpool. I mean, the 2 largest reservoirs, right, Lake Powell, Lake Mead, they're only about a quarter full. Imagine that. If they drop any lower at this point, you're talking about the loss of hydropower generation for millions of homes, and then you get to that Deadpool status, which essentially means water can no longer flow through those reservoirs. It will be a disastrous situation for the river and everybody that relies on it.
So many people downstream. Yeah. Steve Patterson, thanks so much. And after the break, it is still a mess for flights going in and out of Mexico, and the reason, a volcanic eruption is spewing ash and rock into the air. That's coming up next, so stay tuned. Hey, welcome back. Let's take you around the world in 80 seconds. People living in and around Mexico City are being told they might have to evacuate because of a nearby volcano that keeps spewing ash and smoke. Now, scientists say Popocatépetl has been active for a long time, and about 25 million people live within a 60-mile radius. Prince Harry lost an attempt to pay for police protection in the UK. Lawyers for Harry argued he and his family should get high-level protection on British soil. Now, that security more or less went away when he and his wife Meghan stepped back from royal duties in 2020. And today, a Moscow court says that Wall Street Journal reporter Evan Gershkovich will remain locked up until at least the end of August. His pretrial detention was supposed to end next week. Gershkovich was detained in March on espionage charges, which both the Wall Street Journal and the U.S. government denied. He faces 20 years in prison if found guilty. And one more story to tell you about from Russia. Officials there say, quote, a counterterrorism operation is going on in Belgorod. That's an area that borders Ukraine. Now, this news comes after anti-Putin militants, said to be made up of Russians fighting on Ukraine's side, attacked a building belonging to Russian intelligence. Meanwhile, Russian forces continue to say that they have captured the city of Bakhmut in eastern Ukraine. But as NBC's Molly Hunter explains, Ukrainian forces insist on holding on to a city that has been the site of the longest and perhaps the deadliest battle of the war so far. Molly?
We're about 25 miles from Bakhmut right now, and there are about 100 Ukrainian troops here, all off the front line, training for the counteroffensive. Now, some of them have fought in Bakhmut just back in January. They talked about the really intense block-by-block urban warfare in those high rises that we've seen pictures of. A lot of them fought in Kherson last fall, but all of them right now are getting ready, rearming, retraining for the counteroffensive. Now, a handful of guys we spoke with joined the war, were not professional soldiers, joined the war at the beginning of the war, and then last summer had the opportunity to go train with American troops in Germany. Now, they said what they focused on there were anti-tank missiles like Javelins. Of course, we know lots and lots of Javelins have been part of those U.S. military aid packages, and that's training, what you hear right there. They say that made the biggest difference. When they fought in Bakhmut, they had Soviet-era anti-tank weaponry. Now those American weapons are really filtering through the front line. They also really, not only are they grateful for obviously the American military assistance, the military training, they also say they're still in touch with some of those American trainers, getting kind of real-time battlefield advice, talking to them, getting encouragement, and now they're passing that experience, that knowledge, everything they learned in Germany on those bases from American trainers on to the other troops. These are a lot of very, very young guys. Some of them, of course, have kids at home. They say one of the things that really kind of challenges them when they're on the front line is thinking about their families back home under those intense Russian aerial attacks. But these guys, all of them, and again, what you hear is training, all of them will be heading back out to the front line and getting ready for that counteroffensive any day now. I'll send it back to you.
Molly Hunter, thanks so much. And tomorrow marks 1 year since the massacre at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. 19 students and 2 teachers were shot and killed by an 18-year-old former student of the school. And as the community is still reeling from the innocent loss of life, questions still linger about law enforcement's slow response. NBC's Jay Grape has more.
There's no moving forward without our loved ones.
And we realize you still don't have the answers that you need.
Just imagine everything you love getting ripped from you.
It's just sad to see everybody in pain and crying for their loved ones.
Tomorrow marks 365 days since the massacre at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. 1 year since 19 students and 2 teachers were slaughtered inside their classrooms. And for this small town, 12 months of what many describe as inaction, indifference, and a lack of accountability.
I haven't trusted law enforcement here in a while.
Why is that? Doesn't surprise me one bit. Why? They're very slow moving.
Yeah.
Very slow moving.
A lack of speed that investigators believe may have cost lives. It took law enforcement 73 minutes to stop the 18-year-old shooter in Uvalde. A report from a Texas House committee released last July says it's plausible that some victims could have survived if they had not had to wait 73 additional minutes for rescue. A criminal investigation into the delayed response is ongoing, and the mayor of Uvalde is voicing his frustration.
Everybody that was there that day has to be held accountable, whether it be the school police department, the Uvalde police department, every agency that was there. And this is my opinion. It's been a bunch of BS. We've been a year, and we're still waiting for answers that we are.
Anger shared by families of the victims demanding a change to gun laws in Texas.
We're allowing these people to use these guns to murder people, and it doesn't make any sense.
But to this point, the Republican-controlled Texas legislature has done nothing to change the gun laws since the killing spree. And now, on the eve of the anniversary, Uvalde's mayor calling for privacy for the families of the victims and survivors.
We ask for you to show compassion, to show privacy when it's asked for.
As families continue to mourn, unable to fill the void left by a senseless act of violence that haunts them every minute of every day here.
There's no moving on. I'm stuck on that day, and I will forever be stuck on that day.
NBC's Jay Gray with such an important reminder. Before we go, it is time for the future of everything. And we're going to be talking about a mysterious sighting from 2021 that has dozens of witnesses looking for answers. We're going to tell you about the silent triangle of 29 palms that happened right here in California. So stick around. And for tonight's Future of Everything, we're going to talk about UFOs, because it is my hope that in the near future we figure out whatever the heck has been going on in our skies. And if you follow a lot of the UFO incidents involving the U.S. military, you might have seen a lot of people talking about several videos of what looks like a triangle seeming to hover over a base out at 29 Palms here in California. This was all released in the last day by documentary filmmaker Jeremy Corbell. Take a quick listen.
Those are not aluminum rounds, because aluminum rounds fall. And nobody shoots in a 5-gun section. There's more lights around it.
Yo, this is fucking weird.
got UFOs outside.
Now, Jeremy Corbell and the co-host of the podcast Weaponized, George Knapp, say they have been looking into this since 2021. There's another image right there. He says, according to reports from witnesses, the whole thing only lasted about 10 minutes, from 8:20 when it appeared to 8:30 when it blinked out. According to Corbell, it was seen by more than 50 people, many of them Marines at Camp Wilson, who captured those images, but they just couldn't explain what they saw.
If you look in the picture, you can see like a black triangular shape.
Why are these not flares?
Because they stayed there for a solid 10 minutes, just in the same spot.
And flares don't sit in one spot for 10 minutes?
No, they fall.
And Jeremy Corbell himself joins us right now in the studio. So, Jeremy, real quick, set the scene for us here.
Yeah, so this happened back in 2021, and of course, I thought it was flares at first. A bunch of Marines started coming to me. I was able to find them within 36 hours. They saw a craft. So this is not something lights in the sky. They actually saw the body, the shape of the craft, and you see that in the low light photo. So they basically said, you know, what's going on? What is this? And I was worried about the reporting process. We dug into it for a number of years. Luckily, they shot up lumen flares, so you can see the difference of what a lumen flare is. And most flares, they last within 1 minute to 3 minutes max. This object, or I'll say craft, because you can see the body of it, sat there from 10, some reports say up to 25 minutes unmoving. So this is why I thought it was important, bringing it out to the public, trying to crowdsource and figure out this UAP. It's just an unidentified. The point is we're trying to identify.
And we're trying to identify something that happened over a military base with a lot of military service members all around. We reached out to the Pentagon. I know the Marine that you spoke to said that they ruled out flares, but the Pentagon tells us that there was an airspace tactics and instructor course happening around the same time, and there's video of that training. I think we have some of that video that has been declassified. You can see choppers through night vision. You can see tracer fire. You can see flares. And then right at the end, there are a couple of seconds showing something it's kind of in a similar shape to that triangle. Do you think that that could be the same thing? Some of this exercise that you're seeing right here, those appear to be flares, kind of in a triangle shape. Do you think that that could be what these Marines saw?
Yeah, so that's the question is, were these flares? The problem is the duration, and all of the witnesses that saw the body of a triangular shaped craft. So initially that was my thought, but over these years and working with people, they saw the craft itself, the body of it, and that's what you see in that low light video. Now, I don't know, it's a huge base. It's almost 1,000 miles wide. So showing me a video, we need to know if it identically matches up to the time. Look, I'm trying to solve the case too, but I can't discount the Marines that are telling me they saw the craft.
One of the interesting things about this case is, so that is declassified video that we're seeing right now of the training exercise. The Pentagon says that they had no report of UAP activity, and there is a procedure now for UAPs to be reported all the way up to the Pentagon. They're saying that there were no reports given. Is that what you're hearing from the Marines? Did they ever try to file a report with the government?
Yeah, so that was the problem. We weren't getting information. Now, we've seen that over and over and over. Remember, the 2004 Tic Tac event, that UFO event was during a training exercise. The 2019 UAPs were during a training exercise. There's always training going on there at that base. So that's what we're trying to get, is better transparency to move that information up and better reporting process. People should not have to be calling journalists. They should be reporting it through the normal chain of command, but that is not happening.
Now, one other question. I mean, as soon as you posted that, everyone was talking about the Phoenix Lights, like one of the most well-documented UFO mass sightings there's been. What did you think when you saw this? Did you think Phoenix Lights as well?
Well, when you see that 5-section of lights, that shows that it appears to be very similar visually to the Phoenix Lights, but the size was about half the size of a football field when they could see the body of the craft. And that's what just keeps coming back at me. I want to know the truth too. I want to see proper reporting. But that connection between an object in the sky with the Phoenix Lights is because of the body of the craft. you can see it in the low light photo. You can see it, and that's what the witnesses tell me. So I don't know, man. This is an unidentified. That's UAP. When you're reporting this stuff, you just got to try to figure out what it is. And I think the next number of days is really going to highlight how these types of investigations work.
So you can't say what it is, but you can't say what it isn't.
It is unidentified. That is a UAP. But let's find out together. That's why we put it out, asking the public and anybody else that was there to help fill in the voids.
Jeremy Corbell.
Hey, man, great to see you. Thank you.
Great to see you, too. Thanks. And now to an AI update. The technology keeps popping up in more areas of our lives, and now it looks like a part of Adobe Photoshop as well. Today, Adobe released a new version of the software that includes revolutionary AI imagery, making it harder to tell what is actually real. NBC technology correspondent Jake Ward has a story with an exclusive look on how he got at the Photoshop.
Hey there, AI art is creeping into our lives, making it possible for someone with little or no training to create incredibly convincing images. Now, the technology is being wrapped into a program that has long been a household name, Photoshop. And the results may make you question what you see.
Technology makes it difficult, maybe even impossible, to tell what's real and what's not.
Born in 1987, Adobe's Photoshop became the way a trained designer could alter reality. But now, AI-powered art takes no more skill than typing a few words. That means anyone can make an alien world or a fake news photo. Now, the new Photoshop allows you to add AI to your pictures.
Photoshop for a generation has been the verb for digital creativity. Will we still talk about photoshopping things in a generation?
I think the era of Photoshop just went into hyperactive mode.
We got an exclusive first look at the new AI-powered version. They wouldn't let me bring in my own images, but in their demo, they showed me how to make a dog portrait a bit fancier.
So I could say spring, trees with sunshine, and I'm going to hit generate.
Wow. Add artificial objects or backgrounds, and Photoshop will blend them with what's real.
We'll type in a puddle.
I would imagine that in the old days, water is kind of the bane of a Photoshop expert's existence. And here's the reflection of everything. How hard would this have been using classic Photoshop?
This would have likely been easily hours of work.
In the short term, experts say certain jobs will be lost.
You'll definitely get creative agencies saying, we don't have to hire $1 million agency to do this for us anymore. But I think we'll find at the high end, you still need to hire the best artists in the world.
There's a lot of AI work.
Adobe's David Wadhwani says AI art will not wipe out his company.
In the next 2 years, we expect to see a 5x increase in the amount of content being produced. We're effectively creating the opportunity for creative professionals to keep up with the demand.
But of course, combining AI with real photos raises some ethical problems.
What are you guys prepared to do in sort of taking responsibility for that new world?
We've introduced something called content credentials, and that basically says any content you come across on the internet will have a nutrition label.
Those labels will verify whether we're being shown images made or altered by AI, Wadhwani says. Because maybe in a world where it takes almost no training to tweak reality, we'll need to be able to trust something other than our eyes. Now, Adobe is also trying to avoid ethical and legal trouble by only training its AI on its own licensed stock imagery, and it plans to compensate artists who contribute their work to train the AI. Now, that is a big difference from other AI art companies who've been the subject of lawsuits for training their models on whatever images they can find on the web. Back to you.
Jake Ward, thanks so much. That does it for us tonight. I'm Gadi Schwartz. We'll see you tomorrow, but until then, stay tuned now.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the NBC News app.